It's 4 minutes after 8 o'clock. It's time for another Island Tea, and we're ready to go on another Thursday. It's Thursday, April 13. You know what the year is, and you know who my hosts are. We got Candisie and Azard.
Good morning. Good morning.
How
good
are
morning
you doing today?
Yes.
How is everybody doing?
It's a wonderful Thursday morning. Candy, how was your rest?
It was awesome. Listen, this is a short week. Last week was a short week. I feel like I'm still playing catch up, but I managed to squeeze in some beach time last night, and that helped me so much.
Oh, you went to the beach last night?
Yes, like after work. I just drove there like a bat out of hell so I could get the last bit of light, and it was amazing. So,
oh, wow.
yeah.
Oh,
I'm
look at you.
Yes, I'm feeling all.
Were you doing the Miss Universe swimwear category?
Oh my God, no. I just wanted to get in the water. Listen, it was cold, but after I got in, it helped.
Okay, then. So
yeah, I'm definitely up and ready to go this morning.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm ready to start with my positivity.
Oh, man, you see the power of seawater.
I know, right?
Yes.
So this morning, my quote is, keep going. Just that. Keep going. Everything will come to you at the perfect time. Just keep going. You know how they say, just put one foot in front of the other? Keep going.
I think that's a very good quote, because oftentimes in life we see where we want to be, and sometimes the road seems very long. It seems very daunting.
Yeah.
But what we should do is just keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah.
You know, when you said that about the road seems daunting, the first thing that came to my mind was our interview yesterday with our only living national hero, Sir Kennedy. And one of the things he said to me across the table, he was like, it's not about the changes and the ups and downs, it's the journey. So when you said that, that's the first thing that popped to my mind, because I don't know if you remember when we were talking.
I remember.
He changed his majors like 3 times, his specialties 3 times.
Yes.
And I was trying to figure out, and I think I asked him, I was like, why did you change? You know, but circumstances, but he never gave up.
Yes.
And if you read the book, you'll see some of the hurdles he had. At one point, he wasn't sure where he would get his next meal from.
You know, and in life, I've often, as many persons, have goals and aspirations, and you know, sometimes you have in discussions, and persons might tell you that this seems impossible to be done, that it cannot be done, or that this is going to take a lot of work.
Just all the negative things about it, instead of, you know.
Sometimes you just have to just not look at the obstacles. 'Cause if you're focused on what needs to be done, what might go wrong, what would have, should have.
Right, and all the risk. You'll never move.
You'll never
move.
You'll never move. Sometimes you have to just take that leap of faith, and as you said,
keep going.
Keep going.
Yes. Nicely done. Yes, just keep going.
Yeah, so anyone who is listening to us, we are encouraging you this morning to just keep going, keep pushing on. Do not look at what lies ahead and see it as an obstacle, but see it as a journey, taking one step at a time. Just look at your next step. You understand?
I know.
Not the fleet of steps that you have to climb.
Yeah, because listen, sometimes that road, but just keep going. Awesome.
Yes. I know in the news, just when we're talking about keep going, we had those athletes from St. Kitts and Nevis who kept running,
right?
You know, kept jumping and kept us entertained, kept us on our toes, kept our eyes on the screens during this long Easter weekend.
And kept our countries on the lips of persons that watching and attending Carifta.
Yes.
So kudos.
But, you know, the medal table hasn't changed.
I know.
I
saw
like Sportsmax, and they're using.
Yeah.
But
they have the same.
It's
something
strange
is wrong
because you put the table up, but you know, when you look at the evidence is we only have 1 goal, but you're seeing on other platforms
5 goals.
5 goals.
Yeah. It's
So
crazy.
I'm wondering, yeah.
I think
So
there's
maybe
definitely something wrong
It's
because I
probably-
saw like a article where people were talking about glitches or like the
thing I sent you, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
the metal count being off, and everybody just being
Which of
kind of like
course-
all over the place.
Which
Yeah.
of course Azard didn't get because he removed himself from a chat he started.
So
But anyway, it's
yeah,
another story.
Yeah, I
back
did.
to Carifta.
You know, because sometimes sometimes when you want to keep going, you have to distance yourself from some path that might be photos along the way.
We definitely should get the athletes in here to give us some tips
You know, the
about
hurdles that
how
you
they
have to
can
ju-
keep
the
going.
hurdles-
And
the
the guy that
hurdles.
won the goal, I think
Yes.
it was for hurdles, right?
Yes.
Samuel, the guy, what's his name? Akanye Samuel?
Yes.
I can't remember his surname.
Mhm.
But I saw that they had a really nice motorcade for him, for everyone, I should say, for the athletes yesterday.
Yeah.
I saw bits and pieces from person's status because I was still at work when it started. So I wasn't able to catch the full press conference and see the entire thing, but I saw bits and pieces, and I am telling you, if they didn't feel the love yesterday, something is wrong because the turnout was tremendous.
Yes.
I saw them walking through the streets. You could see, poor things, they were tired, but I'm sure they felt so loved and so appreciated, and I love that
And
for them.
you know what is commendable? The motorcade that was organized and pushed yesterday came from the people, came from the desire, the family members, the supporters to come out and really, really appreciate these young people for what they have done for St. Kitts and
It's the
Nevis.
start of something good, and I hope that it's not just a one-off, and this is how we welcome all of our ambassadors.
Yes.
Whether you go away for Debate Society, I know there was recently LIDC, like a couple months ago
Yeah.
in Antigua. Whether you go away for Debate Society or the History Club or to athletics, whatever it is, we should always make our ambassadors feel welcomed and appreciated because it is not an easy feat.
It is
So I was
not.
really happy to see that. So kudos to everyone that organized. Patrice, I know that you were instrumental in that. She's
Yes.
part of the St. Kitts Athletics
She
Association.
is in fact the public relations officer.
So I know she was instrumental in that. Actually, I saw quite a bit from her status,
Yeah.
right? So
she was encouraging person to create a live so she could see
Right.
because
she's off island, right?
Actually, I spoke to one of the officials yesterday. So he told me he would call me and tell me when.
Who's this, the president?
Actually, I don't know if he's not the president. I don't think so, but he's on the executive.
Okay.
So he said that there would be. He said sure they'd love to come, but
Oh,
he said he'd
awesome.
call me and tell me. So I'm gonna give him a reminder call today.
Good, because I didn't even want to reach out to the president because I know the president, and I was like, he must be so exhausted.
Who's
Yeah.
president?
Delwyn Delaney.
Delwyn
Oh, that's why.
Delaney.
Oh, he's the president.
Yes.
Yes.
For some reason, I thought, oh, okay.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
figured they would be
Okay.
so bushed that
Yeah.
next
Yeah.
week would be probably
Yeah,
the best time to bring
next
them
week,
in.
Next week we could definitely bring them in, you know, because today is Thursday and tomorrow is already Friday.
Yeah.
So we could start off the next week with something again
And
positive.
finally get to the bottom of this whole Carifta debacle.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
How is it that the evidence shows one goal, but you look on other platforms and you're seeing 5 goals?
I've never known Carifta
Well,
to be this disorganized.
The thing is, I tend to want to go with what we're seeing officially from all the official, because I think aside from the shenanigans, if we keep seeing the same table from officialdom, it has to be that let's say World Athletics has you could say conditionally said, well, okay, that's a medal count. Okay, let's go with that until you guys sort out the
So where did you see 1 and where did you see 5?
I didn't see 1. I kept seeing 5.
Oh, where?
And
Is
11
that
and
on the world?
11 in all. World Athletics, which is the
Right. Should be the
yeah,
official thing. Oh.
Yeah.
And you
So-
saw 1 where?
Well, I didn't see one, but
But I read one somewhere,
yeah,
but
but I didn't see
Yeah.
one, but you know, I have sports fanatics, you know, and I mistakenly shared a post on my status yesterday with the
Problems.
5 because you know, excited just to think it's 4th, and so
Right.
you're seeing these, and it looks, you know, authentic. It looks like that's the results. And you're somehow saying, yeah, I don't know, but this looks good.
It looks good,
and
exactly. Good enough to post.
And then multiple people,
but people
who observed attentively said,
based
on the evidence, you only have one.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so we are still there to see the actual count. But yeah, based on the evidence, if you look at who got the goal, see one.
It's just that one. So, but Jamster, as a sports fanatic, because I'm into sports, but I think you beat me by a mile. Has Carifta ever been this contentious? Has there ever been so much controversy surrounding the games?
I don't recall it being to this degree.
Yeah.
And a lot, there've been a lot of accusations flying around about Bahamians doing shady stuff and so on.
Every country is complaining because Guyana has filed one or two appeals. Mm-hmm. Jamaica has filed appeals. I know St. Kitts filed one when they took that medal from Jalen. So, I don't remember it being this
contentious.
Yeah,
it's
crazy.
That's crazy. I mean, but I don't want people to lose sight of how monumental it is that a country with barely 50,000 people is fourth.
We performed exceedingly well.
Well,
on the medal table.
The medal table that
the contentious medal table.
Yeah.
Let's
just
wait and
because I am still awaiting.
But apart from all of that,
I'm still awaiting official words as it relates to the placement from our local authority, which is the St. Kitts Nevis
Athletics
Association.
Which is where Delwayne would come in.
Right.
Yes, so let us wait until then because they would have the official. If any.
And they can give us more insight anyways. So we'll circle back. And if you guys are listening and you have any more information on that you'd like to share, feel free to call in or post it in the chat.
I did go past the what do they call it again? The private terminal, and I saw all the cars outside, and then I said, oh yeah,
right. I made it a point not to drive there because I just did not want to get caught up in that.
Yeah. But it hadn't. They were still coming out, so basically all the cars were packed on the grass, and the people were inside.
Just waiting.
I think some of the athletes, I think I saw about 4 or 5 of them outside, but yes, I guess they were just making their way out. But
that's nice. That's nice.
But guys, in all the midst of the excitement, welcoming our athletes back yesterday and recognizing that the games are to be played in Grenada next year. Right. So we know we're going bigger and better than before. St. Kitts and Nevis, the unstoppable force.
Definitely.
There was a tragedy in St. Martin.
Oh no.
Cruise passenger injured in boating accident. And it says that a tourist aboard a cruise ship in the port suffered a tragic accident in St. Martin in which he lost part of his leg near Bobby's Marina around 4 p.m. on Tuesday. According to the police, preliminary investigations, they indicate that the victim had jumped into the sea and swam towards a water taxi anchored on one of the piers. He then tried to climb upon the water taxi and got his foot caught in the propeller, resulting in a loss of part of his right leg. And while I'm reading this, right?
Your visuals, right?
Yeah, because I actually saw the video.
Yeah.
Someone sent me the video,
yes.
and I didn't know what it was about, so I went and I clicked it. And so as I'm reading, the everything was there. The foot.
Did you watch it to the end? Because I couldn't.
I did.
I started screaming, right?
I didn't know what it was.
Watch it to the end.
I was like, is this, because, it's in circulation, and then I saw his foot off, and I'm like, so while I'm reading this article.
You're getting the visuals again. Listen, the last part of that video that I saw was when someone was trying to help him up, and I think the guy saw blood, and the guy dropped him. I was like, and I started screaming, right? I'm like, how can you drop him? Oh my God.
This was one reason why I didn't become that medical doctor,
The blood.
The blood.
But what was disturbing to me is I heard someone say, turn it off. And you could see somebody motioning saying, turn it off.
Yes.
And I don't know if they didn't hear or it wasn't turned off within enough time. But the bigger, question for me is, why are you trying to board a boat in that area? because you're looking at the picture and it looks as though it's a catamaran. So, you know, the two propellers will be on the side there. The middle is relatively empty. Why are you trying to board it in that area?
Yeah.
Why didn't you wait until the boat stopped, the propeller? I was so
I am thinking about
I was distraught about this whole thing because I'm like, sometimes we don't even realize the danger that we're putting ourselves in.
As I am trying not to visualize the video that
I
I saw.
really hope that he's not in pain right now.
That I was like, wow. And then he got up on that boat without his right leg, you know, like piece of it
Oh, I didn't
off.
even see that.
Yeah, and then you could see the blood spouting out.
Wow.
I was like, that has to be immense pain. There has to be immense pain.
Good
Oh
grief.
God, yeah.
Wow.
That was really, really
But
bad.
was he drunk? What?
I don't know. I mean,
It just seems so crazy to me.
it seems, if you think about it, jumping from one and jumping off of because let me look back at the article.
So he jumped off the cruise boat.
So here he says, according to the police, they indicate that the victim had jumped into the sea and swam towards a water taxi anchored on one of the piers. So I'm thinking, so he jumped into the sea from where he was. 'Cause he was on a boat, I think, and he jumped into the sea, and then he
Swam towards
the water taxi that was anchored at the pier. So maybe in his mind he's thinking,
It's off because it's anchored.
so I don't know. And then, I mean, people do things and it's a party setting. So people do things that they might not normally do, generally.
Yeah.
And so, because I think it was a party setting, because there were more persons on the boat that he jumped off and tried to.
Which would make it probable that he might have been
Probably
might have been drunk.
intoxicated,
Might have been, yeah. We don't know for sure,
That's what
but
I
we
said,
could
probable.
assume, yes.
Yeah.
And so the victim was provided medical attention and he was immediately transported to a medical center where he is currently in critical but stable condition. Authorities are currently investigating the incident.
But you know what's weird to me? This is like the third accident I'm seeing where someone has lost their leg or part of their leg. Remember the two accidents that we had here in St. Kitts? I was like, what is it with people with these accidents and taking people's legs now?
Yeah.
I mean, the first one was so graphic, but I wanted to commend the persons that ran to the young woman's help, to her rescue. I was really impressed with that outpouring of support. But then, you know, she lost her leg. And then the second one, I think I saw, it was just outside of Ross University.
Yeah.
And then I kind of saw like that ankle or something was broken. Like you could see like it
I
being.
didn't even know about that one.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the.
No,
the one.
that was the first one was on the Southeast Peninsula.
Yeah, and there was another one.
There was one just outside of
Oh
Ross,
my God,
and now
I
this one, I don't know what's happening with.
I didn't even know about that one.
With feet of recent.
Wow.
But you know, I want to
another
just say
story talking about the
sympathies
same
to the
thing.
persons and hang in there and best of luck in your healing.
It says, according to reports, the man was on a pier on Tuesday where there were two water taxis. Supposedly, one of them was maybe being filled when the man reportedly jumped into water to go onto the water taxi. The man was injured by the boat's propeller and lost part of his leg. He was identified as a passenger of one of the cruise ships. So it seemed like maybe he was on the cruise ship and then approached this water taxi. Yeah.
I was a little confused by the picture I saw on Loop about that because it said cruise ship passenger, but then I saw a picture. I said, but that's not a cruise ship. But then
Yeah, but-
now
so
I
the
understand.
photo you were seeing is him trying to board the water taxi.
Perhaps, yeah.
Probably a photo
I-
of the back of
I
the
don't have
rear
all
of
the information, but based on the videos that I saw, there was the Uber so-called cruise that I think would have docked in St. Martin yesterday.
Oh, really?
That's
based
what
on-
was
yeah,
happening.
so I saw videos, so I'm trying to connect. I don't have all the facts. I could be corrected, but I saw the videos of the Uber cruise, so-called cruise, docking in St. Martin. So it could have been a situation associated to that. Could have been.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we're still waiting for more information,
They
and
should.
and loop use did not indicate any
You
thing.
know,
So
they should have docked here so that one, we get Uber
I know.
cruise
I
to
actually
come here,
wanted to go on that
and
cruise.
two, the guy would have his legs still.
yeah,
Probably. Yeah.
We don't know.
So sad. It's such a sad situation.
It is.
It's 8:24, and we will be having the link up with Point FM in Antigua. I'm just gonna have I haven't heard from him yet, but I think if there was any issue, I probably would have heard from him already. But so they're getting ready for Carnival as well. So I imagine as the weeks go on, it'll get even more interesting as far as.
But since you say that, I saw a flyer come out last night that we are going to finally be getting the second wave.
Yes, 10:30 today.
Music festival.
And
artists.
And it's rumored that Burna Boy is on that list.
Oh,
I don't know where they get the information from.
I know.
But on the social media, everybody was talking about Burna Boy making it on that list.
I'm hoping it's true.
Well, that would be good because I think a few weeks ago when we were speculating about people they could bring, I had heard someone say that they had approached Burna Boy and they thought it was too expensive or something to that effect.
We're the only Caribbean island he hasn't come to us yet.
Yeah,
he's been to Suriname, Antigua, Dominica, Tobago, St. Martin. Did he make it to Barbados? I can't remember. But we're right in the vicinity there because he's been to St. Martin and Antigua. So,
I recall persons making statuses, and just in humor, because I think when he was supposed to be in St. Martin, there was rain or something like that. So people
almost like a storm.
Yeah. So persons were saying on the social media when you look at it in their statuses and so that he's going to be the only one performing that night because it's going to be filled with rain. You know how persons are. You know how Kititians are.
Well,
just a bit of humor.
I am just happy that the second wave is finally here.
Yeah.
Because we've all been waiting with bated breath. So, yes.
Yeah, and I mean, we did mention it just Tuesday on our show here on Island T, talking about when that second wave is going to come. And, we already had hail.
Exactly. So it's due. Because I think when they did the first one, they said, in a few days we'll be releasing and then a few days turned into months.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that it's finally here.
We're just about 2 months away from this big event.
I saw someone on one of our chats commenting saying that it's late. They should have released the names since probably January, because the problem is, and everyone these days travel.
Yes.
The later you wait to buy a ticket, or the closer to the time you wait to buy a ticket, the more expensive it is.
Yes.
So I think for persons wanting to come home, or just persons that don't call here home but want to come for the music festival, they're a bit on the edge of their seats trying to find out what is it? Is it worth it? Is it going? Should I even go this year? Who are the persons they're bringing?
Yes, because this kind of planning usually needs some lead time. 6 months would be good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially if you work, you got to put in for vacation. Exactly. If you run a business, you got to set up stuff where persons can, the business can flow smoothly while you're off.
At some point, you run out of siblings and grandmothers, right?
Yeah.
Then airlines, then Airbnb, then hotels.
You got what I just said, right?
Exactly. Babysitters, right?
No, I'm meaning you know how many stories I've heard from people who've told their employers that, a grandmother died.
They died, listen.
He had that popular soca song where he said that something, I can't.
You mean ducking?
I was gonna say ducking.
Yeah.
We need to carry you on this Uber soca cruise immediately.
That's a pretty funny song though.
I remember these songs, It's just that, I have my lapse moments.
He asks off for work and he's at the fete. The next thing his wife is his boss is at the fete. So he's ducking.
But the boss probably ducking from him too. The boss probably don't want him to see him at the same fete.
Even in this, we see St. Lucia is monitoring an increased incidence of dengue and chikungunya cases. Yeah.
Where?
St. Lucia. I saw that and I was like, where are these now coming back from? We can't catch a break.
Yeah.
In some places, we're still recovering from COVID. In the U.S., some places when you're traveling into the US, you still have to submit a COVID test if you're not vaccinated. And now dengue and chikungunya are back.
They said that the number of dengue cases doubled last year compared with 2021, and that the same increasing trends were noted with chikungunya. I haven't heard about chikungunya in a while here. Yeah. So it's there, and it says that dengue cases continue to be recorded in St. Lucia throughout the year, usually peaking between the months of June and November. Since the introduction of chikungunya virus in 2014, random cases have been reported.
So dengue is it by a mosquito?
Yeah, the mosquito.
And what's chikungunya by? I can't remember, honestly. Like, this thing has been out of the news for so long.
It's not a mosquito?
Is it?
The chikungunya.
I know he said virus, but, is it still by?
The vector is a mosquito. I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But, as you talk about the windwards, I found out something yesterday that I did not know. I was told by a marine expert that fish poisoning is only up here in the leewards.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't happen like St. Lucia and Grenada.
The chikungunya virus is spread by mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes, yeah, that's what I thought.
So they're both by mosquitoes.
Yeah. But I thought of that because when I asked what I thought, he had said Grenada, and I remember he was telling me that for whatever reason, whatever it is the fish eat that makes them poisonous, it doesn't happen like in St. Lucia, Dominica. It only happens like in Antigua, St. Kitts.
Did not
know
that.
So I said, that's strange. So I said, why is that? He said they still don't know. So
that's weird.
He said, but
it's a good thing for them.
Yeah, he speculated that it could be some plant that grows up here for some reason that proliferates not on OACS. That doesn't, for whatever reason, doesn't down there.
Because I know with barracuda, they say it's because like they live in those old rusty things underneath the sea, and they probably ingest some of the rust, and that makes them poisonous.
He said no. He said that's not it. I asked about that. He said no.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a quick break. It's 8:31, and I'm just awaiting the arrival of Trent so we can get this thing set up.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Need some quick extra cash? Play Pick 4 with the Caribbean Lottery for a chance to win up to $40,000. Simply place your bet of $1, $2, $5, or $10. Choose your preferred draw time and play style, then select 4 numbers or play Quick Pick. Visit thecaribbeanlottery.com for more on how to play and to see daily draw results. If your numbers match the draw numbers, you are a winner. Get your Pick 4 tickets today at the Caribbean Lottery agents island-wide. Must be age 21 and over to play.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
That's good.
And we are back.
Yeah, we're back, and here we are seeing that St. Vincent's Prime Minister shares thoughts on the death penalty. So we know that the death penalty is a very controversial issue. We know based on the judgments that has been passed down by the Privy Council, it is practically almost, let's say very, very difficult to enforce that death penalty based on the threshold that must be met. Almost impossible. So there was a discussion with Dr. Ralph Gonzalez and, the criminal activity experience here in St. Kitts, experience in St. Lucia, experience around the Caribbean. And so St. Vincent, according to the article on Easter Monday, recorded a fatal shooting. The first killing by a firearm since February 9, 2023. I thought that was a a smooth way of
I know.
saying, you know.
I was hoping you were going to say 2019.
Yeah.
It's like, it's February.
The first killing. So I guess, you know, euphemism they invoked there. And Dr. Ralph Gonzalez in the article is urging young men to restrain themselves and end their fascination with guns for taking out their anger. He's saying that everyone has to have a patience and a calm, not because you get angry or lose yourself, to restrain, not because you get angry or lose yourself, to restrain you, you have to have a gun. There has to be something that holds you back, you know? Wow. And he says that it has been something that he has tossed in his mind between death penalty or no death penalty for a long time over the last dozen or so years. And he said that he came to the conclusion that there are particular offenses that you need the death penalty for.
Oh, wow.
He believed it should be for murder, but not those of passion. The Prime Minister said that distinction was made in the constitutional reform proposal, which went to the people. However, the people rejected. There were many proposals, but this was a critical one to write into the Constitution. That was not there before, so we could carry out the death penalty in particular cases. So I guess what they want to do there is amend their Constitution that makes it explicit, you know,
Wow.
to invoke it
necessary.
without having. We would supersede the precedent that would be set because the Constitution is the supreme law. So I guess, but he's saying that was.
But, you know, he's also saying that both the Court of Appeal and Privy Council decided practically that no one can be sent to the gallows anymore for murder.
Yeah, based on the theories and the rationales that they came out of their decisions, they basically say it has to be the worst of the worst of the worst case. But what is the worst of the worst of the worst case?
Every case turns on its own merit, right?
And no case really has been in years has met that threshold.
But is it that the case doesn't meet the threshold, or they're just trying to keep in accord with the Privy Council and the Court of Appeal? Because, you know, we've always had this Privy Council argument as well.
But the Privy Council is our final court, so we can.
And you know where I'm going with this. You know, we've always had this issue because there are cases where the crime has impacted the society to such an extent that even if this person was not hung or sent to the gallows or whatever, it still leaves that really bad taste in society's mouth. It's something you can never forget. And then on the other hand, if you do hang them, it's you know, so where do you go with it? But then should the Privy Council still be making our decisions?
Here's my reasoning.
Before we go there, the Privy Council is stationed in England, as we know.
Exactly.
England has abolished the death penalty.
This is our age-old argument. Did you have to do a paper on this in school?
No, but
I did.
But as a lecturer, you know, the issue is always there when you speak to the students.
Because remember when the CCJ came about, it was a constant debate in class and in the whole back and forth, because do we keep the Privy Council? Are they still in tune with what?
Would the question is, and I mean, changing a court might not necessarily mean
better judgments, right?
Or different judgment.
But then I think if we're going to be saying we're independent,
based on the death penalty,
we're
I'm in agreement with this.
We're a republic and we want to be sovereign and we want to run our own show. Then what are we saying by not having our own final court?
Yeah, but I mean, the debate to me here now isn't
that. It's the death penalty and
how impractical it has been to be
but
imposed.
I think they're tied in.
Is the death penalty? The question is, the issue surrounding it is, does it curb crime? Having it on the books.
But you know, for me, I see it as both, because he is saying that he wants to put it back into the Constitution, but at the end of the day, if the Privy Council is still your final court of appeal, then even if you put it on the Constitution, how effective is it? Because
I think what he wants to do is make it clear, because
He says he wants it to be there for murder, right? And not crimes of passion. But again...
But if you look at it, we still, in our Constitution, it is allowed, but based on the interpretation of the court of our Constitution, they have interpreted in such a way that is very difficult for us to enforce it. So I think what he is saying in this is to create the language that it is no room for interpretation by any outside, that this is clear as day, that this is what we want.
Fair enough. I still can already see problems coming with that.
And
because
there could
Amnesty
be problem.
International and all of those organizations are going to definitely protest.
And I mean, the court, again, is the guardian of the Constitution. So there could be academic debate. There could be, challenges if that goes there. I mean,
you know what my whole problem with the death penalty is? And yes, I guess when it hits home to you, or you feel like you know all the facts of the case, you're like, yeah, just send him, just hang him, whatever. But I have seen too many instances where years after evidence turns up, where this is not the person that did the crime, the wrong person was convicted. Remember the Central Park 5? And recently I've seen a lot of cases in the US where this man has been in jail for 70 years for a crime he didn't commit, because now they're testing DNA because it wasn't available back then. So that's my issue.
Yeah,
well, one of my issues with the death penalty. Because unless you see this person actually commit the act, how do you know that this person actually murdered this person? And then for you to go and give them the death penalty and kill them, and then something turns up later down the road to show that, hey, it wasn't him, he was framed. So that, and so I'm always on the fence where that is concerned.
I think there are many persons on the fence, as it relates to it. It's a discussion to be had.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a discussion to be had. On both sides, you have to weigh, I think, some people would say, taking a life doesn't bring back another. Doesn't.
What stands out in my head? Like, I remember them learning in school, in law school, even the person that actually does the hanging still has to go sit on the bench to answer for what he did, because even though he's the executioner, he still just took a life. Yeah. So even though it is what do they call it? Excusable crime? What's the proper wording?
I think you mean that he's
justifiable.
I mean, even if you look at the executioner, whoever is the executioner has, to me, at the end of the day,
live with it.
Not even live. I mean, that takes, to me, psychologically, just to execute someone. And I mean, that would be, that has to take a toll mentally, unless you're someone,
just cold-hearted.
And I don't think that you really would employ persons who would, on the spur of the moment, be desirous to kill. I mean,
but the heart and mind of man.
That's a very interesting thought. The life of an executioner. The persons who have have been the one
to pull the noose or pull the rope or send through the injection.
What goes through his or her mind? There must be a documentary out there on that. And
you remember the very graphic ones, Anne Boleyn and those people, Marie Antoinette. The guillotine. That's.
I mean, Charles I, Anne Boleyn,
crazy.
Catherine, King Henry VIII,
with his
beheaded
insanity.
2 of his wives, and then Parliament beheaded a king. The Parliament of England.
But but every time I think about death penalty and maybe a person's going to the gallows, like, I always remember that, because I feel like if I can see it in my head and I can hear my professor in my head telling us that, there are different types of crimes. There's justifiable ones, and so that would be one, because that's his job. He's hired to do that. But even after that, because it's still a crime in the sense of what the definition of a crime is, he still has to sit a few hours on the bench and basically give an account for what he did.
I mean, I think that's something that I'll look into. There must be a documentary on
Awesome.
the
Sure, when you
effects
find
of, you know, they have documentaries on everything. So
and you're obsessed, I know.
you know, these are things that, you know, you do that. Well, I don't know if you ever looked at documentary, like, you know, those serial killers and stuff like that. What really got them into?
So you've seen Jeffrey Dahmer's Netflix thing. So everyone in my house has watched that except me. I like documentaries. I am a history buff, and I like those kind of series. But everyone was into this whole Dahmer thing, and for some reason, I just haven't gotten around to it. So, yeah.
I must admit, I started watching the Netflix series, but I did not finish it. You know, I got to certain episodes, but I didn't finish. I actually then looked at the actual trial, clips of the actual trial. I looked at that, and I looked at clips of him speaking in interviews and stuff like that, and, you know, documentaries, the actual documentaries. But
what are your thoughts on him? For me, like, I don't know. I just know that he was a serial killer. That's like that's just the basics.
Yeah, well, he was always at a very young age, based on what I would have seen, fascinated with dissecting animals. I think he killed, based on what I can remember, he killed animals at a young age. And his father was into science. And so I think his father thought, based on the information that I gathered, that he was just intrigued with the science, not knowing that
he was wearing a cycle.
He was really trying to see how to implement it in the future, not on animals, but on people. I think that he had this sort of acid bath or something that he created that really took the skin off the bones.
So is it that he's fascinated with death, or he's just cold-hearted?
And
I'm gonna definitely have to go watch this series now.
The thing about it, he said when he was locked up, that it's a good thing he's locked up, because had he not been locked up, he might have continued his killing. So he's able to rationalize what he has done. That is the thing. He's able to rationalize that he did something.
And men's are both there.
He makes no qualms about it. He actually identifies that he has a problem. He actually recognized it, and he died in prison. You know, based on my recognition, a prison, he had an altercation and he was killed while in prison.
Wow.
But I think, because this is stretching my memory, I think that he might have, you know, have some sort of spiritual connection with God in the end or something like that, I think. Yeah, but it just shows you, and that's why, you know, when you see children acting out at a certain age, we ought to observe the behavior, because in following these documentaries, what you take away is, how do we spot situations where persons might be going down a different path, and I think that is what looking at the minds of these individuals helps you to understand, and helps you to try to see the signs in the earlies. You know, it educates you on what to expect, what not to expect, how to react, you know, in situations.
Weird.
Yeah.
So he demonstrated these tendencies at a young age, but I guess the parents just
saw it as, you know, normal fascination, inquisitive nature, smart. He was good in science. Yeah.
Wow.
You know, I remember that I think this might have been the movie or maybe the documentary, but there was perhaps Netflix, where he was in the lab and he was intrigued by the dissection of the animals. You know, he wanted more, so he was very good at it. So it was like, wow, this student is really good. He is very interested in this. I remember when I was in Jamaica, before I firmly decided that law was my passion, that I was in Jamaica doing science courses, and we had to dissect a frog, and the frog was huge. Like they had some real big frogs. I think the frog was as big as you see this. I think the frog was as big as this. So you really had to dissect that frog.
I would have been out to that class.
And it's like, okay, you have to cut it open and everything. And I'm thinking, okay, Azard, you just want to A in this. That's all you want. You just want to
suck it up and move on.
So and it was the first dissection that I did. But imagine someone being intrigued with all of these animals that are dead to cut down, And it's not just for the love of science, because the individual is thinking, we could move it up a step further.
Exactly. Let me test this out, perfect my skills. I would have been out of your science class, by the way. That would have been the last class for me, because I did sciences in school. I loved biology, loved chemistry. I draw the line at dissecting amphibians and reptiles. I am terrified of those. So that would have been my last day in class.
Yeah, I remember. I never forget that experience. I never forget that experience. And the thing about it, he would have captured bodies, and they were all in his apartment, and it was the scent of these rotten bodies, the corpse. It was just unbelievable, and he was able to get away with this without police identifying or being able to trace him, or even looking at something, one, because of the color of his skin, the time that the crimes were committed, persons of our color weren't really seen as
Wow.
And so a lot of and I think there were other persons, maybe like other descents, but it was a mixture, but minorities, and the other killings would have been of gay persons. So you had that two combination that really made it under
easy
the radar.
for him to,
Yeah. Because minorities in society.
Yeah. So
okay.
that's
so guys,
crazy, and that has not changed in the years. It's easier to get away with a crime
against a minority.
Not even against a minority, because of your skin color. In the U.S., it's very prevalent.
Yeah.
Because of the color of your skin, you're able to slide under the radar.
I think this would have been I'm stretching my memory, because so many things I think this was in the 1980s. I think this was in the 1980s, so that would have been that scenario starting from the 1980s.
But you've intrigued me enough, so I know what I'm looking at this weekend.
Yes.
Thank you. Good job.
But guys, we have put out, notice. We have summoned a very popular DJ and host to our court this morning. We have been told that he's on the airways creating, a little bit, spilling more tea than
he should, right?
Than he should.
Tea is our thing.
Yes, tea is our thing. And so, guys, we're going to take a short break, and when we're back, we're going to bring in that popular host and popular DJ.
Awesome.
Need some quick extra cash? Play Pick 4 with the Caribbean Lottery for a chance to win up to $40,000. Simply place your bet of $1, $2, $5, or $10. Choose your preferred draw time and play style, then select 4 numbers or play Quick Pick. Visit thecaribbeanlottery.com for more on how to play and to see daily draw results. If your numbers match the draw numbers, you are a winner. Get your Pick 4 tickets today at the Caribbean Lottery agents island-wide. Must be age 21 and over to play.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Do you want to improve the quality of your water? Is buying bottled water costing you a fortune? Say no to bottled water and yes to Tap Water Caribbean and Espo Water Solutions. We offer eco-friendly filtration products such as our Ultra Filter or our Bottle Pro for at home or on the go. Fill up anywhere. We also have a Shower Pro designed to protect and give you healthy skin. Visit us today at tapwatercaribbean.com or on Facebook and Instagram. Let's drink clean, pure, healthy water together. Remember, go green, save money, and save our planet.
This is the official invitation to the Conscious Party.
Get conscious, get down to business every Wednesday with Conscious Business. Join the Conscious Musical Reasoning with Selector Highest, strictly positive and conscious music on Conscious Business on WINNFM 98.9, WINNFM.com. Vibes include Business Education Corner, Business Quote of the Day, Agriculture Time, and Mama Love Track of the Day.
Mama, I don't ever want to see you cry.
Conscious Business is brought to you by Light New Steam Cleaning. You too can get exposure and awareness for your business when you call WinFM's sales department to advertise here. Conscious Business is positive growth.
Yep.
Okay, stand by. Okay, it's just about, we got 4 minutes until 9 o'clock, and we had to scratch our Antigua link up today because they were having some issues over on that end, and they had to go to the computer that they were using for Zoom. They had to go and do something else with it, so.
Remember when we were having the hailstorm, we were having computer issues, so we totally...
But we were able to improvise. I gave Candy a little, show to watch that she can watch in documentary.
And Ike, what's up?
Hey, Ike. So, Ike,
So
you
we
have been...
in studio with us, the one and only, Real Right, is it? Let me get the description properly. Real Right.
Well, Ike, you have been summoned this morning to our court. You have been summoned.
That's a very imperious description.
Summoned.
He has been summoned, yes. I am not mincing words.
Oh,
he has been summoned, yes. Because you have been accused.
Someone who's never been accused of having balls.
Good thing he sat over here.
Yes, he has been accused of creating social media drama.
Nice. Well done. Well done.
Thank you. So, Ike, moment. What say you this morning? We could talk about so many things.
Anything you want to talk.
Lovely.
Yes.
Oh, nice. So I came prepared for this.
Oh, is
that a
question a lot? Hello. Good morning. All right. We're here. Live.
So first of all, I'm so excited that you're here. So people that know me, yes, they know I'm a big fan of you. So listen, sometimes I'm listening to him and the others are like, what he can't really say it. Wait, let me go message him. And then another time he will play music that puts me in a complete zone, and I message him like, yes, baby. So definitely I'm a fan. So I'm so happy that you're here this morning. And I think We were expecting you last week or the week before.
Yes, when we had Peter
But,
Wickham here.
Yeah, your schedule didn't allow.
Yeah, I had to work the
so-
night before, so I sleep mostly in the day.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
We get you all to ourselves this morning.
Yes.
So
Yes.
nice.
So, Ike, it has been announced that there is the second wave of the music festival that is supposed to be announced just 10:30 this morning. We've had the first wave already. I know you're a DJ, you're into the entertainment. What are your thoughts on the music festival lineup so far?
I think for the 25th year, it's a pretty good lineup. I mean, if you look at the artists that we've had over the 25 years, and you look at the lineup this year, it's a collection of all those artists that we've had before, the best ones. So it's a pretty good lineup.
Okay.
There's something there for everybody.
I heard rumors of Burna Boy being on the selection. What are your thoughts as it relates to that?
Frankly, I'm not a big Afrobeat fan, but it's good music nonetheless. I've never seen Burna Boy. I've seen clips of him. The people love him, so why not? We've never had him here in St. Kitts before, so I think it would be good for us as a federation to have him here.
Nice. But for me, my question is, what are your thoughts on our entertainment industry now? I know with the last administration, they formed a whole entertainment ministry, and they had this minister, and there was a PS, and they were going around and they were meeting with persons, and I don't know that has continued, so it might just be that I am out of it. But what are your thoughts on the industry generally speaking? Have we completely bounced back from COVID? Are we still...
Well, let's start with the creation of the Ministry of Entertainment. I think that was a brilliant idea on the part of the former administration. I think that when COVID hit us and the people who were normally far away from what happens behind the scenes with production and entertainment, they were right there now, because you couldn't do it in a larger scale. So you had to do it in a back room where everybody was close to everybody. And so the Prime Minister then, Dr. Harris, saw what was going on, and he began asking questions about, who this belongs to, who that belongs to. And, I think the idea was hatched to form a ministry to more or less focus in and see how we could grow this orange economy, we call it. And it was a pretty good idea. The execution, though, was a lack thereof, because in anything you have to find the right set of people to put in place in order for them to understand what the task is, what the goal is, and get the job done. Touch base with who is who and the movers and shakers to get it formalized and get it moving. I think now that is being done. Like anything that is new, you have to sift it out and work out the kinks, see where it goes. But I think the attitude and the mindset is in the right place, because for far too long, the creative economy, the creatives weren't seen as something that was a real job. And you saw that being played out during the COVID lockdowns and what's not. They had no respect for entertainers. Normally they would say it's not a real job.
Right,
but I could guarantee you, anybody who sits in an office in a jacket and tie, we make more money than them. You
and I remember seeing a post with
There
that.
are so many parties now, you hear?
Right. I remember seeing that same post where they said it's not a real job. And I think it had like maybe over 500 comments, because everybody that the entertainment industry touched went crazy, including me. I was like, are you serious? How is it not a real job? Have you even tried to ever pull off even a small scale event?
But that comment came from a political place, though. Because if you look at who made the comment and who was pushing the narrative, it came from a political standpoint. I mean, you got to understand that, yes, we were trying to, quote-unquote, save lives. But in an effort to save lives, you destroy lives as well. Right. You understand? Right. You can make an omelet without breaking some eggs. And that is what they did. They literally destroyed some people's life, because some people make their living. They pay their bills, they support their children, they pay courts and hospitals and TDC from what they make in entertainment. So when you tell these people that they are not real people and they're not real jobs, you're basically destroying your own self, because entertainment drives a lot of commerce,
Precisely.
Hairdressers, barbers, shops, stores, ice makers, table makers, caterers, you name it. Every time somebody decides to have a quote-unquote party for people to just walk up themselves, a lot of commerce takes place.
Yes, it does.
And so when you tell entertainers that they ain't what nothing and they ain't a real job because they're not a doctor, a lawyer, or a teacher, you hurt a lot of people in the process.
Yeah.
I mean, even people who were selling earrings, where people who wear earrings into functions.
Yes.
Right.
People who sell earring and jewelry were chiming in to say that entertainment ain't a real thing.
But you're disrespecting people on a general level. Are we gonna say garbage men aren't their job isn't real? Well, when they leave the garbage pile up for a whole week, you're gonna find out how real the job is.
See how that works.
Right?
But
So,
I think that the entertainment sector is something that it has developed in St. Kitts and Nevis, and I do think that entertainers, they're real jobs, as you say. At the time, it was COVID-19. We knew that social distancing was what was being pushed and lockdowns. So we know the situation. We know the spread of the virus was through contact. What would have been some of the recommendations then you think government should have taken to sort of create a balance between saving lives and those who have jobs in entertainment? Because the entertainment sector was severely hit.
Have a conversation with us. And when we come to a conversation, don't lecture us. You come to listen to gather information. I find that sometimes the people who sits in higher office, normally when they say that we having consultations, it's them at a head table talking for 2 hours and then give who come to the audience to have the consultation a half an hour to talk. So more listening could have been done. I mean, we're the ones who do this thing every single day. We were looking at the news, we were looking at the information, and I find that, yes, some people were a little bit scared and they just saw, like, we just have to keep everybody safe. But you as a leader got to find the balance. Mm-hmm. Look at your facts. Look at who the virus was actually killing. Elderly people, obese people, people who had pre-existing conditions. If we were a country that kept stats, you see like how the doctor came in here and give you some stats, that blew your mind. Mm-hmm. But the stats were correct. Mm-hmm. It's just that we got it in bits and pieces here and there. But when you compile all of it together and you look at it and you present it, then you could properly assess what it is you need to do instead of moving first and then trying to see what happened in the aftermath. So if they did look at the data, if they look at the stats properly, if they understood what the entertainment industry really is and come up with a plan that suited us, it would have worked better for us. I think they would have get a better, what's the word I'm looking for? Cooperation, so to speak. All of us would have been on board.
But look how we bounced back, because we started having silent parties, we started having online parties, virtual parties.
We had to be creative.
And it worked because look at all the verses that they had during that time.
Yes.
And how successful they were. Everybody was going on to Instagram just to tune into that.
So, Ike,
we had to be creative in order to stay afloat, because they weren't doing it for us. They just said lockdown, no parties, no this, no that, no that. They had riots all over the world for this,
Yeah.
You had caterers pushing their trolleys out because we need to work. How do we support our families if we don't practice our trade? I was sitting in my bedroom and doing shows in Washington and doing shows in Maryland virtually. Exactly. And that's how I continue to make money. I was assisting my fellow entertainers in going online and making sure that they sound good, because this is what I do on a daily basis. So we had to get creative in order to make a sugar cake.
So you won't have mind, because I'm looking at the situation and I'm looking at it as social contact. Entertainment, when you have these fets, there's a lot of contact that would happen. So there is the possibility of the virus spreading. So, but your contention is that government ought to have sat down with the entertainers and created a map with them forward. So what I'm gathering from what you're saying, even if that map is a virtual, on a virtual platform, just the discussion to create that platform or to assist in that platform will have been...
Your job is to facilitate and accommodate. You're the one who's supposed to put the contingency plan in place. Don't tell me get sick. Don't get sick. People can always get sick. But make sure that as an administration, you have the necessary infrastructure and facilities in place to look after me. That is your job.
Okay.
Agreed.
You understand? So
Agreed.
tell us what the fixes are. Tell us how to get this. Mind you, we can do whatever we need to do. But how you can tell somebody don't catch a cold?
Yesterday,
And don't catch a flu?
Yesterday, I had a take. A visiting friend of ours is here. She lives in the States. And yesterday, out of the blue, actually, when we were going past the, when I was telling you, I went past the Montecade people outside the private jet place, and she said, out of the blue, she said, but by the way, I think that the previous government's COVID thing was a little draconian. I was like, really? You think so? So you agree with that, Ike? I mean, she didn't have to say anymore. I kind of knew what she meant, but I was kind of surprised.
It was draconian. It was dictatorial, and you didn't take into account the fact that we as human beings, we are social creatures. We don't want it. We need it in order to stay balanced. We are multifaceted.
I mean,
you don't have to like rock and roll. But you like jazz. What is jazz? Jazz is music. Jazz is entertainment. Whatever form of entertainment that you like, that you prefer, you need that in order for you to function on a daily basis. Wherever stress and strains you might be going through, you need it. We are social creatures. You cannot disconnect us from each other, from interacting with each other.
I think
Otherwise,
that's what they missed. That's what
good.
they
Otherwise,
forgot.
you're going to destroy people's mental health.
I do get where you're coming from, Ike, in the situation that the consultation should have been there, that there should have been more assistance, as you said, because I'm not in the entertainment field, so I would not know. And I could imagine COVID-19, this is your income, because now I'm self-employed, so I'm now thinking, had I been in that situation, it would have been a very devastating state, and you really have to be, you have to be very creative. So I sympathize with those situations. I think it was a time though we knew not what the perfect answer was. I think it was a time where we didn't know, because we never experienced a situation like this. So there would have been some good and there would have been some shortcomings.
Fair enough. But on that point and the whole consultation, have you participated in any of the new administration's way of reaching out to us, our Creatives Connect? Because I actually went to one of the meetings. I know they were having them all over the island. And for some reason, I kept missing when they were having them. And I would see it like after. And then someone called me and invited me to the meeting. And I'm like, okay, fine. I've seen it advertised. But what do you guys want from me? Like, why do I need to be there? And so I actually went to one that they had a couple weeks back. The minister turned up, and there were quite a number of creatives there. And when you hear some of the things that we're experiencing in this sector, it is mind-blowing. I remember there was one guy there, and he's into the entertainment industry, more on an equipment side. And he has been waiting for a business license for 18 months, right? And so I think everybody came out and everybody was just sharing and airing their views and their issues. And for me, my issue was that you guys don't listen to creatives.
No.
You and it's exactly what you both described. They call for the consultation, you go to the consultation, and then nobody listens, because most of the times it's persons who don't understand the sector. So I feel that we probably stand a better chance because of the person that they've put now in the sector, because Samal is somebody that has been in that arena. He's been a rapper, he's been a poet, almost every angle of it. And so he came, he was pretty open to listening to us. But I feel sometimes that there's so many issues. Where do we start?
So, Ike, how has the entertainment sector been since, as Candy has indicated on the day?
Well, the bounce back is good. I mean, everybody and their grandmother want to keep a party right now. So,
provided that the COVID-19 regulations have subsided, and that we're now longer in the situation we were 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
But from a formal standpoint, what the government can do, and this is where you're going to need a very tedious and a closer look at how the government actually functions. Case in point, waiting 18 months on a business license. That has to do with administration. That got to do with the civil service. The civil service in saying is needs a serious overhaul. People need to understand what it is their role is and what their job is. Your job is to facilitate, do the work regardless of who you're dealing with. If you don't know how to do that, then you either need to leave the job or get some customer training so that you understand that your job is to facilitate. What we need in place for the entertainment industry is a quote-unquote formalization of it. You see, when a big company comes here to open a big hotel, they get 30 years concession, lease on this, lease on that. They get support from different ministers and the different ministries coming together to help them in order to get started and to get going, because they provide jobs. We provide jobs as well. I got 5 people working for me. You understand? So if you could help me as a small business owner, right, to make sure that when I go to Inland Revenue, bam, this in place. I'm not saying that it's all bad, because I went to Inland Revenue, I did file some taxes, and a young lady assisted me very well. But that's because I named Ike. But suppose you ain't named Ike. You're not supposed to walk into Inland Revenue and get the same treatment. You're supposed to treat everybody the same way. Make sure that when I come to my business license, I need this business license in order to function, because if I have my business license, I could file my taxes. The government collects revenue. You understand? So make sure that when I go there to do a business license, I don't have to jump through these lot of hoops. And so it calls for changing and reforming your policies to suit us.
While I agree with you, you said something. I agree with you in general, but you said something about if they're not prepared to do the work, they should go and get some customer. But isn't that's the government's job? I mean, Inland Revenue does a very good job on the customer service side. I mean, I'm blown away. I used to work there before I went off, and I'm amazed at how they really have their customer service game.
Yeah, they function properly.
Yeah.
But not all government agencies do that.
But that's what I'm saying.
You're going to find a one or two. So as an individual, a part of your personal growth, supposed to aspire to that.
But there's blame to go around, in the sense that, to me, citizen-facing government agencies should all have a standard customer service training regimen that they lay across all of those.
But every government that we've had dropped the ball.
Yeah, let's be
Ike
practical.
said that, though. He did say that you can see them coming together when it's certain things. And I mentioned that to the minister, because I actually pulled him aside and I said, what is going on? There's a disconnect. You're with small business, you're with culture, but you're not with tourism. And they're not exclusive. They all need to come together, just the way when somebody's coming to open a hotel, tourism gonna turn up, culture, Inland Revenue, all the other business or the ministries, all the other ministries gonna turn up. So why is it any different for a small business or for entertainment sector? Because nothing works on its own. Just as no man is an island, no ministry is an island. Because trust and believe that if you don't file your taxes, you can go and get duty-free concession for small businesses. Because the first thing they do is call Inland Revenue to find out if you have a business, any money is outstanding. And then duty-free concessions goes to trade and small business, but then it still has to be approved by finance. And then a copy of that still has to go to customs.
Yeah. With all of that said, right, and this is just how the government process is, they're so quick to take the money, but when you have to get the benefits from, it takes forever, even when it comes to being reimbursed. But that is the government and the civil service system, regardless of what administration is in, because there's a system in place.
But that's what I tell you, all of them drop the ball on that.
And what I would say when it comes to the customer service is that you realize that when a party succeeds, there's some shuffling and there's some expectation that now me party in, me ain't got to do no work, I get my job.
That's the biggest downfall of the federation.
This is it.
That's the biggest downfall. because I don't see where you should have a civil service being populated by people who are highly partisan when it comes to their politics, and they don't know how to separate their politics from their professional life, right? Just because I help you win a campaign doesn't mean that you have to take me up from where I was and then dump me into a civil service. And then I go in there with the attitude that, my government in power, as you say, and I could do as I like. That, to me, is our biggest downfall in the civil
Even
service.
something that you're not qualified for, because it's like
nobody talk about that there.
you're moving me from something I've been doing for years to throw me in a sector where I've never functioned, which is going to, for the first couple months while I'm going through growing pains, cause an uproar in that sector. So now you go to that sector and they were probably functioning fine, or you had gotten accustomed to it because, you were working within their parameters, and now there's somebody new in charge because of political reasons, and then everything is going crazy, everything is haywire.
And the thing about it, Ike, I have seen it, all political parties have been guilty of it, and but I have seen it more so now. I guess based on my age and based on involvement.
Now you're paying attention.
Yeah, well, I won't say paying attention. It's because before then, when Team Unity got in power in 2015, at that point in time, I was still heavily concentrated on school. So I wasn't even here to in the service, so to speak, to see the transition. But I'm not saying that I didn't. All political
just
parties.
what you see now is exactly what
happens
happened.
every time.
This is what I'm
and
saying.
exactly what happened in 1980 leading up to when Labour win in 1995. The exact same thing. Not now. All them do it.
But this is what I'm saying. I was hoping during this transition and even forward, because there's no change right now, but I am hoping that perhaps persons like yourself, persons like myself, persons like Candy, in the future, wherever we are, that we are able, if we're placed in a position to understand the concerns and the problems to effect change. Because, to be honest, even with the new administration, I have seen the shuffling. I have seen it. I have seen where persons have been moved and stuff like that. So it is, to me, just new faces, but the game remains the same.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's gonna always happen.
Let's hope that in the future there's some change. Even if there's a little change, some change.
Ain't gonna happen. It's human beings you're dealing with, and human beings gonna always have the biases, and very few of us could separate with biases from what we're dealing with in life. Very few people can do that and do it effectively, to the point where if somebody walks in and dealing with you, they can't tell whether he's a PAM or Labour. Very few of us could do that. You could always see a hint by Ike talking Labour, by Azard talking PAM.
They also like to box you in, because I remember when I first came back from studying, and for me, I just wanted a job. So I applied everywhere, even places where, I had a law degree, but I didn't care. I just wanted a job. And I remember I got my first job, and it was with a prestigious law firm, and suddenly people was like, oh, well, you turned PAM now. I never even vote. I just reached back from school. I never even vote. I was out all the time when elections were going on, and then I wasn't old enough. What were you talking about?
We live in a very politicized society.
It's ridiculous, and then for me,
and skills that you could look after yourself. So there is that. Then you have a situation where I see strong people. At one time I see a lady sitting on a bench drinking a Carib, abusing and cussing. How come she can't get you $500? She gets done, and the bill them a pile up. And I'm looking at this young lady like, woman, have you seen yourself? You're able-bodied. You look young enough for me, and you're sitting on a bench drinking a Carib at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You're supposed to be paying somebody's job.
When most people at work,
You're supposed to be at the hustle. Because I was hustling to go where you're going, But I just stopped by the place to pick up something, and she just there sitting down, abusing and cussing. And these are the people who are making the most noise